okay? So, Alma, can you please help us read the paragraph, the one that says vocabulary spot?
Yes, it says vocabulary spot. Connotation is the feeling or mood suggested by a particular word. For example, in the recording you heard an abundance of wildlife. The word abundance has a positive connotation, suggesting it's a good thing to have so much wildlife. If you said an area was swarming with insects, swarming has a negative connotation, suggesting you didn't like the fact that there were so many insects.
Perfect, okay. Now, connotation, in your own words, Letty, what do you understand by connotation?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes?
Perfect. Well, it's, for example, when you have a, it's in the text, but you have a positive meaning or a negative meaning. No? Something could be good for certain context. I think another. I think the same word can be good or bad. It depends on the context. Okay. But there are some words that are applied for good context. No, like what could be a good one? I'm trying to think in another example, but my mind is in blank.
Don't worry, it's early on Saturday and you're tired from all of the week, so don't worry. Okay, let me help you a little bit with this. Well, before, who else? Bere, do you have an opinion on connotation?
Not exactly, Miss. I was thinking about, as Letty says, if it is something bad or good, but I have a doubt. The same word could be bad or good. It depends on the context.
Okay. Connotation, let me help you a little bit with this, guys. Connotation is an idea or the feeling that a word invokes in addition to its literal meaning, a positive or negative one, okay? So connotation means there are some words in the language that by nature, the meaning is negative by their nature. And there are some other words in the language that they have a positive sense implicit, okay? The positive or the negative sense of a word is implicit, okay? For example, here on the paragraph, we have two words. The word abundance, okay? What is that? What is abundance in your opinion?
Excess of.
Exactly, the excess of something. Swarming too. Swarming means infestado or multitud. But swarming has a negative connotation to it. So we usually use swarming when we talk about a plague or something bad. In this case, it says an area was swarming with insects. It was infested. But abundance and infested have a different meaning, okay? They both mean an excess of, but infested sounds negative to our brains. That is connotation, okay? Abundance sounds positive to our brains. If you think of abundance, you think of food, of richness, of time, maybe abundance of joy, good adjectives, okay? That is connotation. The feeling or the mood suggested by a particular word, okay? And I repeat, by their own nature, some words are seen as positive and some others are seen as negative. The same happens in Spanish. If I were to tell you in Spanish, abundancia, infestado, they both mean an excess of something, but one sounds good, the other sounds bad, right? That's connotation, okay? It is important to know the connotation of some words because sometimes we use the words that have a negative connotation and we don't mean a negative sense in the sentence. That's why it's important to look at this, okay? This picture, I took it from the CAE preparation book, okay? Because all of the suggestions that come there, it's because of the mistake some students have made when presenting the exams, okay? So be careful with connotation. Let's practice that a little bit, okay? Let's see some examples, and of course, after the examples, we practice. So I'm going to need Areli to read the negative connotation, Armando to read the no connotation, and Gloria to read the positive connotation ones, okay? Let's start.
Okay, connotation. Example. Negative connotation. Skinny, bizarre, domineering.
Okay, domineering.
Domineering.
Exactly.
I have never listened to that word.
Never? Domineering,
No.
it's an adjective. It means autoritario o dominante.
Okay.
Okay.
Domineering.
So if you say, I have a domineering husband, is that a negative connotation? Of course.
Of course.
Okay. Or, you know, there are.
When you say that a person is skinny, it's that it's an excess of that you think that she's so thin, no?
So thin, exactly.
More than the regular.
More than the regular, okay? For example, when somebody's thin or slim, you say, oh, it's okay. But if you say, hey, you have to eat a little bit more because you're too skinny, I tell that to my son every time because he's so skinny. And you know, people, when they refer to my boy, they always say, why is he skinny? Is he eating okay? But they use the word skinny. So it has a negative connotation. They don't say thin, right?
Okay.
Excellent. Armando, please read the ones with no connotation.
No connotation, dim, unusual, forceful.
Exactly. So instead of skinny, now thin, okay, thin is neither good nor bad, all right? It's completely different to say bizarre or unusual. Unusual is more neutral, let's say. Not wrong, not okay. But when you say bizarre, if you say bizarre, it sounds like if you were judging, okay? Excellent, Gloria.
Positive connotation, slender, extraordinary, and assertive.
Exactly, okay? So for example, slender, we have slim or slender, that has a good connotation, all right? Instead of bizarre, unusual, you can say, wow, that's extraordinary. Similar meanings, but positive connotation, okay? Instead of domineering, assertive. What is an assertive person? Well, an assertive person is also a person that tells you or recommends you what to do, but you don't consider that is bad. You don't say, maybe if your sisters are judging, oh, your husband is domineering, but you're okay with that, you can say, no, he's not domineering, he's assertive because he has experience on this, for example, okay? So these are examples. As you can see, words are able to change the meaning of your sentences, okay? I have seen people use bizarre a lot because bizarre is popular in TV shows and songs, but in, let's say, academic writing, remember we try not to pass judgments. So connotation is very important in academic writing, okay? Because we are sugarcoating everything. We're trying to sound and be polite. So we may want to avoid these negative words, all right? Now, I have an activity on which you are going to learn some words and see when the connotation is negative, when the connotation is positive to practice, okay? With this activity, all right? Let's do the activity individually and then we can check all together. Jasmine, can you please read the instruction?
Okay. For each pair of words, match them to the definition on the right and decide which one is a positive connotation and which one is a negative connotation. Describe why, get, and the emotion behind the word.
Exactly. Okay. So first, you have to label them. Okay. 1, F, 2, G, etc. And you have 2 words. Okay. With similar meanings, different connotation. Gaze and stare, it's the same, but the connotation is different, all right? So let's do this together and then we check, all right? Please raise your Zoom hands when you're done with the activity.
Teacher.
Yes.
Are they not in order, all of them? Sorry, I thought
Yes,
that
miss. I was thinking the
worry.
same. They are just in order.
I know, I was wondering when you were going to find out. The important is the connotation.
I was a number 8. I was a number 8 and number 9. And I was like, what? It's the same.
In that, no problem. The important is the connotation.
Okay.
I thought you were gonna notice like in number 3.
I started with H, I, J, K, so I was okay. So sorry.
I mean, I noticed it. I noticed it on number 5, but then I was like, nah.
I don't think so. All right. Yeah, because I was wondering if some words are more common than others. So I was wondering if it was easier for you this way. Because the important is just the connotation, okay? So if you guys are ready, can we check?
I'm ready.
All right, so matching is easy. Later on, we're going to do an activity with these words, okay? Remember, one of the most important parts and one of the biggest differences, and I'm telling you this as a person who checks writing exams, okay? So one of the important things and differentiators between a B2 and C1 is the vocabulary you use, okay? So we need to check on that. All right, let's read in order. Armando, can you read number 1, definition, and tell us about the connotation, which one is positive, which one is negative?
Oh, gaze, stir, look steady. I think gaze is the bad or the rude connotation, and stir is the wonderful connotation.
Okay, do you guys agree? It's the opposite, okay? Now, if you look in the dictionary, okay, and I'm going to send this to the chat right now. Okay, so please, if you have your cell phones around, let me just look for the group. This is what I want you to see. This is why connotation is important. Check the dictionary definition, please. Gaze, you have the pronunciation in British English and American English. You have the phonetic symbols, the phonetic pronunciation, and then you have the meaning, okay? It says gaze, and between parentheses says stare and look. This is what dictionaries do. They don't tell you, use this word and avoid this other because it has a negative meaning. So you need to, it's like an unwritten rule that you need to understand, okay? Because the dictionaries won't say. Even though the meaning is the same, gaze is the one that it has a positive connotation. And stare makes you look like, how do you call those people that are obsessed with others? Like, how do you call, there's a word, do you remember? No, like a stalker, okay? Stare is as if you were a stalker or a paparazzi with the stars. Okay, that's stare. So when you have an obsession with somebody, you can use stare.
Acosador?
He's staring me?
Yeah, staring, exactly. For example, imagine you say, well, I took a taxi the other day and I felt very uncomfortable because the driver was staring at me. Okay, it's correct to use the word in that sentence because it's an uncomfortable situation. Okay, you cannot say I was scared because the driver was gazing at me. No, because gaze has a positive meaning. Okay. All right. Eric, number 2.
Brainwash and persuade. I think according to the connotation, I think it could be on the positive side would be persuade, and on the negative would be brainwash, giving the idea of persuasion of how you're not what's it called? You're not pushing anybody or you're not telling anybody what to do. Instead of brainwashing, it's going to be forceful for the individual to get that idea or something, or to do something, or the action.
Exactly, you're correct. So both brainwash and persuade mean to influence people on one way or another. The difference is, as Eric was saying, one way of persuasion looks bad and the other one doesn't, okay? So brainwash has a negative connotation, persuade has a positive connotation, right?
Sometimes people say coco wash, it's like
yes. But, well, in Spanish, right?
Right. It's
You're
not
right.
Spanish properly, but.
So yeah, that would be brainwash.
Okay.
First time I heard that word, coco wash. Never heard that word.
Well, when you try to say, oh, Eric is influencing to his mother or to somebody, and you say, le hizo coco wash, I have reasons about that.
It's an interesting word in Spanish, coco
Oh,
wash.
it's not common just for me? Sorry.
No, it is. Well, I heard it a
Okay,
lot.
yes, no?
I mean, this is the first time I heard this word. I never heard it before.
I actually think we or somebody translated it from English, from brainwash. That happens a lot. Okay. Now, important, when you use brainwash or persuade, don't use to. Okay, persuade to his sister, no, persuade his sister.
Him.
Or brainwash his sister. It goes directly with the object.
With the
okay?
person, okay.
Exactly. Gloria, number 3.
Delayed and tardy, not on time. I would say the positive one would be delayed.
Okay.
And the negative one, tardy.
All right. So delayed versus tardy. What's the difference? Okay. Do you guys agree with Gloria's definition? Yes or not? You were thinking on this one?
I didn't hear her.
Oh, Gloria, can you repeat?
Sure. I said that the positive one would be delayed and the negative one would be tardy.
Delayed and tardy.
Yeah, that's correct. I remember when I used to be, they give me a tardy when I used to be late for
At
my
school,
class.
right?
In high school.
When they gave you tardy on a piece of work or at school, it was something super bad. So delayed, it can
It's
still
when the
arrive.
the train or the bus was delayed.
Exactly. It has a more positive connotation. When
But
something
tardy,
is
it's kind of a punishment. No.
Yes, it includes
Yes, it
punishment.
translates to like about like 60 to 50% of your activity in points. I remember that from high school.
Okay. Excellent. So delayed and tardy. Next one. Who are we missing? Daniel. Daniel, are you here? Or Constanza, in case Daniel is busy, because he was.
I'm here. I'm sorry. I have my mic turned off.
Okay.
What are we reading? The fourth one?
The fourth one.
Okay. Lazily and leisure. Lazily has negative connotation and leisure has a positive one.
Exactly. Correct. Okay. So they both have similar meanings, but one means you just don't like to do things because you're lazy, and the other one, since the word comes from leisure, which is free time, it sounds different. Okay. All right. Number 5, Constanza.
Okay, demand and request. I think demand has the negative connotation and request has the positive one.
Correct. Okay. I'm not saying you cannot use demand in a piece of writing. Yes, you can. Okay. If the situation is so bad, you can say, I demand a total refund of my money. Yes, you can do that. But here, demand sounds like as if you were angry. So if you're angry, go ahead and use it. If it's if something you're asking in a polite way, then you use request. Okay, request is firm, but polite. All right. Number 6, Letty.
Number 6. Catherine, I think mob, it's the positive connotation. I'm not sure.
Okay. What's the meaning of mob?
Mob.
Mob, if you, maybe this is a new word for you guys.
Like when it's so crowded.
Like the flash mobs?
It's vice versa.
It's like when there are a lot of people, when it's too crowded.
Yes, when it's too crowded. So mob in Spanish means multitud, or muchedumbre. Okay, gathering has a similar meaning, a large group. But we use the word mob more when we're talking about a protest, for example.
Yeah, it's especially one that may become violent or cause
Exactly.
trouble. Violent.
Exactly. So imagine if we say the peaceful protest became a mob when the police started throwing tear gas at them. Okay, it became a mob. It was peaceful protest, but it became a mob because the police had tear gas. Okay, so mob has a negative connotation here. All right. Ismael, please, number 7.
Observe, spy, look steadily.
Observe and spy, the meaning would be watch, to watch. Okay, and which one has the positive and negative connotation, Ismael? Which word for you has a positive meaning? Observe or spy? Well, in this case, observe has a more positive connotation. You're observing, and spy is without the permission of somebody, right? So spy has the negative connotation here. All right. Next one, Mildred, number 8, please.
Youthful, I think that it's positive and immature is negative.
Exactly. Okay, they both mean a young age, but when you say youthful, full of youth, sorry, it's good. Immature, you're talking about something you didn't like or a negative characteristic. Excellent. Alma, please, number 9.
Okay, irresponsible and carefree. I think that irresponsible has a negative connotation and carefree more positive.
Exactly. Okay, correct. Areli, number 10.
Inexpensive.
No, 10.
Sorry, unique and strange. Unique has a positive connotation and strange a negative one.
Strange, a negative one. Okay, Gloria, 11.
Inexpensive and cheap. I would say that the positive one is inexpensive and the negative one cheap.
Exactly. Even though we use cheap a lot, we also use cheap when we talk about something that was inexpensive, but you say, oh, you get what you buy, you know, cheap is cheap. It means the product may have a bad quality because of its price. Okay. Excellent. And final one, Bere.
Teacher, can you repeat that? Can you repeat that, the one that you say, why can we use cheap or when it's better to use inexpensive? For example, if I buy a sofa, for example, and I think that it's so good for his price, I would say inexpensive.
Actually, I mean, I'm not saying it's not correct to use cheap in some occasions. It depends on your context. Remember, when you talk, you have a context. And if you say, oh my God, I found this sofa that it was on sale, it was very cheap, but even the tone of your voice sounds happy with the product you got. In that case, yes. But what we're saying is that people use cheap to talk about, for example, Chinese products, okay? Or products that don't have the best quality.
Talking about quality.
Okay. I would say cheap and inexpensive.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, there's a saying in English when you say, oh my God, I bought this on AliExpress, on which you can get a lot of Chinese products. People might say, well, you get what you buy. Cheap is cheap. There's a saying because of that reason. Okay?
Okay.
Excellent. And who was in charge of last one? Bere? I think so.
Yes, miss, me.
Okay.
I was writing your saying. It is competitive and cutthroat, and it's going to succeed. And I think the positive connotation is competitive and negative connotation is cutthroat.
Exactly, correct. Competitive, well, it's a person that wants to succeed and will do whatever to get to the top, but in a good sense. Cutthroat, even the word sounds aggressive, you're not cutting throats. Throat is this, okay? So if somebody says, he will win the sales competition because he's a cutthroat seller, it means he's so aggressive in order to succeed, okay? Excellent, so here you have some words. Now let's do an activity, okay? I want you to put into practice the connotation now in sentences. So I want each of you to choose one word, okay? Mention the word so that we don't repeat the word. And I need you to write 2 sentences, one with a positive meaning and one with a negative connotation, okay? Gloria, what word did you choose?
Sorry, for number 12?
No, I mean for an activity, because I want you now to use these words into.
Okay, I'm sorry, teacher. I got confused. I was like, what word did I don't know, let me see, number 7?
Number 7. Okay, Areli.
Number 8.
All right, Alma. Emma? I think your microphone is closed. Can you tell us in the chat the number if it's not working?
Okay, 7?
7, it's taken by Gloria.
Okay, 10?
10. All right, Bere?
5, miss.
5. Okay, Mildred?
9.
Mildred, 9. Armando?
3.
3. Okay, Eric?
What's happening?
You're choosing a number to practice with sentences, putting the words in a sentence.
Oh, okay. I don't know. 100?
No, from 1 to 12. From these words.
Oh, from the same
pair.
words that are here.
Yes.
Okay. I understand that. Okay. 1.
1.
Is it already taken?
No, not taken.
Okay, good.
Who am I missing? Jasmine.
Number 6.
Okay, number 6. Daniel.
The number 12.
Number 12. Constanza.
Number 2.
Number 2. Okay, Letty.
Number 10.
Number 10. Okay. Ismael. Ismael, I think we're missing, let me tell you, 1, 2, 3. I think it has to be 4, Ismael, number 4. Okay, can you please do number 4? So this is what I want you to do. We know the meaning of the words. We know whether the connotation is positive or negative. Now I want you to use those words in a sentence. So if you got number 1, 1 sentence with gaze, 1 sentence with stare, okay? Just to give the word a use in a context. When you use the words, it's easier for you to remember them, okay? Am I missing anyone? No, right? Okay, please let me know when done to share this.
So it's gonna be one word in positive, one in negative?
Yes.
That's what you meant?
One sentence.
Oh no,
Yes.
one sentence. Okay, sounds good.
All right, let's do it. Please let me know. Okay, I can see you're ready, so let's check, all right? Let's try and go in order. Eric, you got number 1. Okay, let's practice with number 1 then. Eric? Your microphone is closed, Eric.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. All right, so number 1 is gaze and stare. So on the first sentence of gaze, we're referring to gaze, is she was gazing upon the stars as they walk across the meadow during a clear night sky.
Okay, perfect. Stare.
And number 2 is stare. He was staring into the vehicle, trying to find a way to acquire the belongings.
To acquire the belongings, very good. Okay, who got number 2? Constanza.
What's another way, Miss? Sorry. What's another way to say stealing? A synonym for stealing.
Steal.
Synonym for stealing.
What other? Get.
It's only rob, right?
Yeah, rob.
Rob.
Yeah. Gang.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Sorry.
You're welcome. Constanza?
Okay, principal school made a brainwash to the parents in order to buy a sound system for the school.
Yeah, that's what happened most of the time. But instead of made a brainwash, just the principal of the school brainwashed the parents in order to buy. Okay? Brainwash is actually a verb, so you don't need to use another verb with it. The principal of the school brainwashed the parents in order to buy a sound system, or I don't know. I don't remember the word you used. Okay.
For the school, okay. Okay, and the other one is I persuade my daughter to study after she finished high school.
Excellent, 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 Constanza. Armando, number 3.
Sorry, the reason for my delay was a terrible car accident.
Okay.
And the next I was tardy for school twice in the last week.
Okay, or you can say I got a tardy, which is what the teachers give you. Very good, okay. Next one, Ismael, you got number 4. I think Ismael left the session, or I don't see you in the list. Let me check. Hold on. Ismael. Yes, I don't see him online anymore. All right, so let's go with number 5, Bere.
Yes, miss. Well, the first one, positive connotation was, I was talking to my boss about the request. I asked him last week about having some days off.
Okay, correct.
And the negative one was, last week I bought a new car and it was out of order, so I demand a total refund.
Perfect. Okay, perfect. In the second one, you are angry, so you can use demand. Excellent. Who got number 6? Jasmine, please.
Okay. During the last week, the president gathered a lot of people at the Zócalo. Is correct?
Okay. Yes, correct.
And the next one is, the feminist mob turned complicated when they start to paint the walls and important monuments downtown.
Yes, that's a good example of a mob. Excellent, correct. Number 7, Gloria.
It's me. I have observed and spy. So I have for the positive one, she is a fast learner. She always observes and learns from others. And for spy, I think his attitude is odd. He's always spying on me.
Excellent. Okay, very good. Number 8, Areli.
I wrote, Tania's boyfriend loves playing tazos and watching cartoons. I think he's too immature for his age.
He's too immature for his age, okay.
Okay, and the second one is, Giancarlo is always training, smiling, and full of vitality. I would define him as a youthful man.
Excellent, very good examples. Okay. All right, 9, Mildred.
For irresponsible, he is too irresponsible to supervise the network operations. And the second one, Jenny is very carefree, even though she has a lot of things to do.
Even though she has a lot of things to do. Okay, correct. Very good. Number 10, Alma.
Yes, the first example is, this birthday present I received is really unique. I love it. And the second one is, the birthday present I received last year was kind of strange.
Okay, excellent. See, even the sound of your voice changes because we also imply or we also add connotation with our voice, okay? Excellent. I think, okay, 11, nobody got 11. Daniel, number 12.
With the positive connotation, Cristiano Ronaldo is a very competitive player. That's why I like watching him playing.
Okay, correct.
And negative connotation, I would rather Donald Trump didn't win the elections. He's a cutthroat candidate.
Excellent, correct. So no problems with connotation. I can see you got the idea very well. No problem?
I miss.
Yes, Betty.
Yeah, I already chose 10 also. Well,
sorry,
unique.
come again? I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I choose also number 10, unique and strange.
Okay, just give us the example and let me.
Okay, for strange. He was looking through the window. Then he had a strange feeling when the sound of the phone interrupted abruptly his thoughts.
Okay.
And for strange, no, unique.
Unique.
I remember to feel intoxicated by the smell, the sounds, the lights, and people, and I don't feel that is unique to Puebla.
Excellent. Very good example. Very poetic. Okay, sorry, Letty, I forgot to ask you. But yes,
It's okay.
it's correct, okay? Your examples are correct. This is a good use of connotation. Then no problem? No? Excellent. Let's continue, okay?
Miss, just a question.
Yes.
Connotation could be any word, right?
Any word.
Adjective, verb, because you mentioned that, what was the word?
Brainwash.
Brainwash, it's also a verb.
Yes.
Ah, okay, perfect.
Well, actually,
because
the majority of the ones we're using are verbs, but we're also using some adjectives.
Adjectives, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
All of
Thank
the
you.
words, okay, the adjectives, the verbs, they have connotations.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Why are we learning about connotations? When you are under certain circumstances, like applying for a job, it's important to present yourself in positive terms, okay? So the book makes us practice, the CAE preparation book makes us practice connotation, because normally during the oral part of the exam, you have to present yourself, and it's always better to present yourself in good terms, okay? So here we have 5 sentences that you have to rearrange, making them more positive, okay? Don't overcomplicate your life. Don't change the whole thing. This is what you have to do, okay? Check the example. My only experience is of working in sales. My only experience. What is this telling the interviewer?
That you don't have more experience than the one that you have already said, no? The sales
Exactly.
job.
I don't know how to do anything else. This is all I know, sales. Completely different if I say I have specialized in working in sales. You're saying the same. You're saying exactly the same. Yes. One sounds way better than the other, okay? So don't change the whole thing, just rearrange it so that it sounds better, so that it has a more positive term to it, okay? So let's do this activity as individual one, and then we check, all right? Please raise your Zoom hands when you're done. Letty, Armando, Alma, do you have questions or no? Okay, let's do this, okay?
I'm sorry, Miss, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna change the connotations of the sentence of which square? The one or the
number one, number one. Okay, number one. You have 5 sentences in number one. Okay, what you have to do is make these sentences more positive. Example, my only experience is of working in sales. You can express exactly the same in more positive terms. I have specialized in working in sales. Okay, that's what we have to do.
Definitely. Thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome. Ready? No? Okay, you tell me when. Eric, I can see you finished. Let's just wait a little bit more for your partners and then we check all together, okay? Or are the rest of you guys done? Not yet? Okay, let's give them some minutes.
I have a vocabulary question, Miss, in the fourth line. What does shifts mean?
Shifts means turnos. So
okay.
you may have the morning shift on a week, next week maybe night shift, then afternoon shift.
Okay, like rolar turnos?
Exactly. That's the meaning of working shifts. Okay, excellent. Let's check, all right? So number one, I did a first aid course and I think I've got the certificate somewhere. Imagine if you mentioned this on an interview. And I think I have the certificate somewhere. Okay? It means you're not a very organized person. So how can we put this in better words?
I am certified on first aid courses.
Okay, all right. Areli?
I wrote, I did a basic first aid course. Yes, I did a basic first aid course with a certification.
With a certification, exactly. You don't need to mention I've got it somewhere, but if we want to change, imagine that you want to change that word. Maybe you say, I have it somewhere because you're looking for it and you don't have it at the moment. How can you tell that to the person?
I don't have my certificate on hand this moment, but if you need it, I can look for it or I can bring it.
Perfect. So you can say, I did a first
I think
aid
it would
course.
be, I don't have a certification at the moment.
Okay.
Can I email it to you in a few moments?
Exactly, both. The one that Ellie said, I don't have it at hand, or I don't have it with me. I don't have it at the moment, as Eric mentioned, but I'll send it to you or I'll bring it to you. Okay, Bere, you said you have another example?
Yeah, the same as them. I received a first aid certificate. I will look for it.
Okay, and maybe better, instead of look for it, it means I don't know where it is. Okay, so you can say, I don't have it at the moment.
I don't have
it. I'll email it to you, okay? Or I'll bring it. Excellent. What about number two? I speak English more or less.
I wrote, I have an intermediate English level.
I have an intermediate English level, okay? Eric?
I can express myself with a intermediate English vocabulary.
Okay, perfect. Gloria?
I wrote, I am competent in English at an intermediate level.
I am competent in English at an intermediate level, way better, very, very good, okay. Does anyone else have another expression here? No, similar expressions? Okay, number three, thank you for inviting me to an interview. I might be able to attend one soon.
I wrote, I appreciate the invitation to an interview, but at the moment I'm looking at other options of employment.
Okay, excellent. At the moment I'm looking at other options, all right?
I wrote, thank you for inviting me to an interview. I look forward to having enough time to attend it as soon as possible.
Perfect, also very good option, okay. Anyone else? Alma?
Well, yeah, it's very similar. I wrote, I appreciate your invitation to the interview. I will be in contact as soon as possible.
Okay, correct. Excellent. Number four, I don't mind working shifts.
I wrote, I am keen on working shifts.
Okay, if you're a person who loves that, yes, I'm keen on working shifts. All right.
I wrote two options in this. I put, I have availability to work in different shifts. I'm adaptable. And the other one, I've got a flexible schedule for work.
Excellent, good options. Anyone else?
I wrote, I am flexible with the schedule assigned to me.
Perfect, okay.
Last. Is it possible with the word able? I am able to work in shifts.
I am able to work shifts.
That's right.
Excellent, very good. Number five, I am an adequate communicator.
I wrote, one of my strengths are my communication skills, which I have polished during my work experience.
Excellent. Okay.
I have a more simple than Eric's, but I wrote, I have good communication skills.
I have good communication skills, also very good. Okay, adequate gives you the idea of just what it's enough. So it's okay to use some other word. Okay, Gloria, what do you have on this one?
I wrote the same as Eric. One of my strengths, it's to communicate properly.
Perfect, excellent. All right, let's do the next activity. It says work with a partner, but let's do it individually because this one is too easy. Work with a partner, choose the best options in these sentences from a job advert. So you have to choose what sounds better from 1 to 5. Okay, let's do this one and please raise your Zoom hands when you're done. Okay, we're done. So let's check, okay? Armando, please read number 1.
Yes, we are looking for an experienced individual.
We are looking for an experienced individual. Is this correct? Yes, perfect, excellent. Mildred, number 2.
Who is able to work under pressure and face challenges?
And face challenges instead of problems, excellent. Okay, Constanza, number 3.
Number 3, you will be responsible for our new sales team.
New sales team, yes. Novel gives the idea that it's not very professional, it's too new, okay? Excellent. Number 4, Jasmine.
We can offer the successful candidate a competitive salary. Sorry.
Excellent, okay. Daniel, number 5.
And flexible working times.
Excellent, okay. So as you can see, this is the importance of connotation, okay? When you are projecting yourself, or for lack of a better word, selling yourself, because you do sell yourself in an interview, okay? You sell your skills, you sell your experience, etc. So it's recommendable and advisable to present yourself and your skills in positive terms, okay?
When you say, teacher, when you say easygoing, it's more for a person?
Yes, it might also be for other things, but it goes with person. But you can also say I'm a flexible person. Easygoing is a little bit more informal.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, I found novel also like a new.
Novel and new are similar.
But novel, it's like novato? No?
Novedoso, right? It's
yes.
No, in the case of they are talking about the sales team, it's
yes.
that they are not too experienced.
To experience, that would be, right? Now, let's do another similar activity, okay? Check, it says, in academic situations, and that is what you need for this C1 level, people often use the more formal version of a word, okay? For example, in academic situations or academic writing, people choose collaborate instead of work with. This is what we have to start doing now, okay? All of the words we know, we have to find a more formal term, okay? Collaborate instead of work with. Usually, no phrasal verbs, right? Now, what is the more formal equivalent of 1 to 10? So you have words such as rule out, to be over, money, the person who had the job before me, so, load, late, do again, doesn't work, and end. You have to find words that are more formal for these expressions, okay? Arely, you have a question?
No, sorry.
Okay, all right, so let's do this, okay? And we will check together in 2-3 minutes, all right?
So you're only going to do the more formal version of the word?
Yes, more formal version of the word money, for example, of the word late, okay? Are we done? Yes? No? Okay, just 1-2 more minutes, okay?
1 minute more, please.
All right. Okay, guys, let's check together, okay? And then we can check if the answers are right or wrong, okay? So from 1 to 10, okay, I'm going to assign numbers, okay? Better number 1, let me write here because then I remember, I forget. Better, no, Letty number 2, Jasmine number 3, Gloria number 4, Areli number 5, Alma number 6, Constanza number 7, Armando number 8, Daniel number 9, and do we have Ismail here? Let me see. No, okay, and Eric number 10. All right, let's check.
Number 1, rule out, eliminate.
Okay, do we agree? Yes, rule out, eliminate. Correct. Okay, Letty.
Number 2, to be over, exceed.
Exceed. In parentheses says the limit of words. Okay, it means if a teacher says, okay, the essay said you needed to write from 220 to 250 words and you are over the limit or you exceed the limit, okay? Correct. Number 3, Jasmine.
Money, funds.
Funds, excellent. Gloria.
The person who had the job before me, my predecessor.
My predecessor, excellent. Okay, Arely.
And for number 5, I wrote, so, therefore.
For number 5, therefore, excellent. Now, please, in your writings, I have seen a lot of so. Eliminate so from writing and start using therefore, okay? Please. Alma.
For load, I chose install.
Install. In between parentheses, it says a computer program. So load, install. Excellent. Constanza.
For the word late, I choose delayed.
Delayed. Excellent. Armando.
Do again, repeat.
Correct. Daniel.
Doesn't work, out of order.
Correct. Eric.
In addition.
Okay, exactly. Now, so and and are particularly important because I see those on writings. Try to use in addition or similar words and therefore, okay? All right, excellent. Any questions so far with this kind of activities? Any questions? No? All right, remember we're working on your writing. All of this is going to build up your vocabulary and your writing. This is why these exercises are similar. Before we jumped to a grammar point, which is relative clauses, okay? Relative clauses are crucial in writing, okay? And in this kind of exams are one of the most common mistakes students make. So one more activity on appropriacy, and then we jump to relative clauses, all right? Activity 4, choose the most appropriate words to complete this formal letter, okay? Very similar to an activity we did before. So you just have to choose the word that sounds better. Remember, it's formal, okay? So let's do it. Please raise your Zoom hands when you're done. Okay, are we done? All right, let's check. It says, dear sir or madam, I'm writing about or in response to your advertisement.
In
In response to.
Exactly. I'm writing in response to your advertisement for a sales assistant. Now, maybe you remember a writing we did before that it was about replying an email to the dean or the director of a school who wanted recommendations from former students. The majority wrote, I'm writing about, try to use for the next time, I'm writing in response to, okay? To your blah, blah, blah. In this case, advertisement for sales assistant, which appeared or which I saw.
Appeared.
Appear.
On Jobline yesterday.
Which appeared on Jobline yesterday, correct. I am attaching or giving you a copy of my curriculum vitae.
Attaching.
Attaching, which provides or gives details of my qualifications and experience. Provides. As you will see, I worked in a business like yours or similar business last summer.
Similar business.
Similar.
in a similar business last summer, which I liked or enjoyed enormously.
Enjoyed enormously.
Enjoyed enormously.
Perfect. This is a very good idea on how to change like a lot, which we very often. Enjoyed enormously. Okay. I am available, or I can come for an interview at any time.
I'm available.
Or an interview
I'm
at
available.
any time. Convenient to you or good for you?
Convenient.
Convenient to you.
Okay, yours faithfully, Jay Perkins. Excellent. All right. Perfect. No questions on this?
Just
No?
a question me. Relative clauses, for example, in here, which, no, forget. Which I saw on means not formal, right?
Sorry, come again, Vera?
It's informal. If I use the relative clause and the word I saw on, which I saw on means to informal, right? I wrote appeared. It's just a question.
Okay. Which I saw. It's not that the relative clause is informal. Relative clauses are okay, but we need to know how to use them. Here, what we're trying to do is replace some verbs or words for a more formal equivalent. So appeared, okay? Because as this exercise said, in academic situations, people often use the more formal version of a word. That's what we need to do.
Correct.
Okay? It's not that the relative clause is wrong. Okay?
Miss, another thing, you know how in the exam sometimes they only give you the name of the person that you're writing to, or in response to, you know, is it okay to put a made up name?
If they don't give you the name, you can write to whom it may concern, no problem.
Oh, okay, so, well, I mean, because I remember one time I wrote in one of my exams, I wrote, dear Jane, but they didn't give me any names of anybody.
Oh, okay.
Would that be an issue?
I don't think it would be an issue. I don't think it would be an issue, but if you write Dear Jane, even though it sounds Americanized because American culture is usually not too formal, it's better if you address in this case, like here, dear sir or madam, or the last name, okay? Remember these British exams tend to be formal, right?
And Mr. and Mrs. would that
Mr. and Mrs. that's okay
work as
too.
well?
It works too.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, we have an activity as an
teacher. Oh, sorry. In this kind of letters, if you write CV instead of curriculum vitae, it's informal? It's more proper to use complete curriculum vitae?
Yeah, it's better not to use contractions, contraction of words or contractions of negatives. It's better.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, this exercise we have on the right, it's an introduction to relative clauses. We're going to check the grammar explanation, of course. But first, let's see if you can spot a difference, okay? The activity says, explain the difference in meaning between these sentences, okay? And then question 1, which contains a defining relative clause and which has a non-defining relative clause. But what is the difference in meaning, okay? Now, just take a look at the sentences, okay? You don't need to tell me the difference now, but when we finish the grammar explanation, I will go back to this activity and I'm sure you will, okay? Better read the sentence 1, please, and Jasmine, sentence 2.
Yes, miss. I am writing in response to your advert, which appeared on Uline yesterday.
Number 2, I am writing in response to your advert, which appeared on Jobline yesterday.
Do you see any difference?
Yes.
Yes. The difference is that one needs the complete idea and the other one gives us extra idea.
All right, one is giving you extra information, yes. Somebody else said the comma, okay? But how does this affect? Now you have an idea because the instruction says defining relative clause and non-defining. So let's take a look at what that really means, okay? So we're going to be working now on relative clauses, okay? And as a reference, the book will be Cambridge Objective Advanced, page 36, in case you want to see the exercise bigger. The relative clause, okay? Grammar explanation. You know relative clauses, your teachers, you know how to use them, but it's important to remind you that a relative clause is a clause that we use to describe a noun, okay? It basically has the same function as an adjective, okay? For example, I have a blue bike, or we can use a relative clause and say, I have a bike which is blue. Okay, which one sounds more formal?
The second one?
The second one.
Okay, it sounds more formal. And if you get a student in your classroom that says, I have a bike which is blue, immediately you believe this person has some knowledge of English. Okay, this is what you want to do, okay, on these kind of exams. You want the reader, because there's a person who's going to read and evaluate your writings, to say this person has knowledge and this person has this level which is enough to get a C1, okay? We put a relative clause immediately after the noun it describes, okay? I have a bike which. We use the words who, which, and that at the beginning of a relative clause. These words are called relative pronouns, okay? We use who for people, we use which for things and animals, and we use that for people, things, and animals, okay? It's convenient that you remember this, okay? Can you please read the 3 examples we have right there, Gloria?
Yes, I know a man who lives on a boat. She has a dog which is brown and black, and he lives in a house that is very big.
Exactly. So I know a man who, a dog which, a house that. Remember, that is the one that is very flexible. People, things, and animals. Whatever you want with that, right? Which exclusively things and animals, who exclusively people. Until here, everything okay? Yes? All right.
Teacher, sorry. Why in the past slide, why do we use a comma for the first sentence and not a comma in the second and the third one?
We will see that. We will see the uses of commas. Remember,
okay.
Non-defining and defining, okay?
Okay, thank you.
So this is what we need to check now. Defining versus non-defining relative clauses, okay? And before we do this, I forgot what time do I need to give you a break? Is it at 11 or 11:30? Who remembers?
It's usually at 11.
Usually at 11. Okay, thank you. I forgot. All right, so let's check what is a defining and what is a non-defining relative clause. Okay, here we have some pointers that are going to help you identify and see the differences. Okay, number 1, a defining relative clause identifies who or what we are speaking about. A defining one, it's defining the person or the object we're talking about. Second pointer, whereas a non-defining relative clause just gives us more information about who or what we are speaking about, okay? Do we get the differences here? One, as Bere said at the beginning, one is only adding extra information. And the other sentence is specific and it's telling you who or what you're talking about. Pointer 3, a non-defining relative clause is separated from the main part of the sentence by commas. This probably answers your question already, okay? When do we use commas? In non non-defining relative clause. So in other words, in the clause that adds or gives you more information, not in the one that gets your attention to who or what directly, which is the defining one, okay? A defining relative clause is not separated from the main point, for the main part of the sentence by commas, right? Only non-defining. And we separate a non-defining relative clause from the main part of the sentence by commas because it is additional information. This is why we use commas, because it's additional information. Is this part clear? Your microphone.
So basically the comma, it goes, so the comma goes only when you add the additional information.
Yes.
That can be an adjective or something like that, right?
The comma goes in the non-defining, okay? And because you are adding or you are giving extra info. Right? Arely, you were talking or no?
No, we're asking for silence and home.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's look at some examples before we go and take our break, okay? Look at the examples. I'm going to show an example and we're going to analyze the example carefully, okay? Arely, please read the example.
Okay, the museum which we visited on our tour of Barcelona is one of the oldest museums in Europe.
Okay, this one is defining. Since it is defining, there's no comma, right? It's a run-on sentence. Now, this sentence uses a defining relative clause, okay? Which one is it? Which we visited on our tour to Barcelona. That's the defining relative clause. This is defining because it tells the listener which museum you are speaking about, okay? It brings the attention to which museum. In this case, the one you visited. Which museum? The one you visited on your tour to Barcelona. If we took out the relative clause and said, the museum is one of the oldest in Europe, the other person will be like, which museum you're talking about, right? So you need the relative clause. It's important because it's the one defining what you are talking about. So therefore, it is very important to include the relative clause because it makes it clear for the listener that you are talking about the one in particular you visited in your tour, of Barcelona, okay?
So it's more like being specific.
As the name says, defining means, it's like the articles, definite and non-definite. The defining relative clause, it makes you be more direct in what you're saying because you're mentioning exactly which, okay? Come again, if we eliminate the relative clause and I just say the museum is one of the oldest in Europe, the person would say, which museum?
The relative clause is too necessary to understand the complete idea. That's
exactly.
That's why it is called defining relative clause. It is not understandable.
Exactly. If not, you don't understand the idea. Remember that the defining relative clause tells you what object or who you're talking about, okay? Let's see another example. Now, in this case, we are using a comma. So it's a non-defining. Let's analyze it. Letty, please read the example.
Okay. The Natural History Museum of London, which we visit in our tour of London, is one of the oldest in Europe.
Exactly. The Natural History Museum of London, which we visited on our tour of London, is one of the oldest in Europe. Now, in this sentence, we use a non-defining relative clause, which we visited on our tour of London. This is not defining because it's not making clear which museum we're talking about. The fact that we gave the name of the museum is enough, okay? Check in this sentence, I'm mentioning the name of the museum, the Natural History Museum of London. In the previous sentence, no, I just said the museum which we visited on our tour to Barcelona. The relative clause tells me which one. Here, the relative clause doesn't tell me which one because I'm already giving the name. It's already clear.
We say that it's not defining because the additional information is not needed, for example. The,
yes.
The Natural History Museum of London is one of the oldest in Europe.
Exactly, okay. We don't make any difference because we're already saying the name, okay? So the fact that we gave the name of the museum is enough for the listener to understand which museum we're speaking about. Therefore, the relative clause is non-defining because we are just adding information about it. You have the name? Now you're just throwing in more and more information about it. In this case, that we visited in our tour of London, that's extra information. Now, if I eliminate the non-definite relative clause and said, the Natural History Museum of London is one of the oldest in Europe, it is still clear which I'm talking about. Okay, this is the difference. The non-defining is just for extra information. This is why we use commas, because since it is extra information, it's new ideas. Remember, in English, we separate different or new ideas with commas. This is why we use the comma. It's a different idea, we use comma. Okay.
Teacher, I wrote an example on the chat box.
All right, let me see.
And I think that this is clearer for me. The first one is not so clear.
What kind of sentence is this? Defining or non-defining?
Non-defining.
Non-defining is correct. Okay.
I thought it was the opposite.
So non-defining.
Yes, I thought that it was defining when you're talking about the object and not. This is non-defining because the word is not giving you, it's only giving additional information, not the main one, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Since you already have the name, I know what museum you're talking about in your sentence in the chat, but you're telling me two extra information, located in Paris and awesome. This is why you separate with commas. Mm-hmm.
Right. And you can omit the information that it's between the commas, no? The Louvre Museum is really awesome, right? Okay.
You can omit it, perfect. All right. Is this clear?
This is clear for me, but the other one, the defining one, it's not so clear.
The defining one, as you can see in the example, I just mentioned the museum which we visited. Since I'm not telling you the name, you as my listener need to know what museum, because there are a lot of museums in the world, okay? But I'm using a definite article. I say the museum, so I'm talking about one, okay? Which one? The relative clause is telling me exactly which one. It says, which we visited on our tour to Barcelona. So I know the museum you're talking about is the one you saw on your tour. And since I probably saw pictures, I know what you're talking about.
I wrote another one. The girl who helps me at home is sick. Oh.
The girl who helps me.
Pretty much.
Let me just read this one sentence, Eric. The girl who helps me at home is sick. Exactly, Arely. I don't know who's the girl. I've never seen her. I don't know her name.
But I'm talking specifically to that girl.
The one that helps you at home, exactly.
Okay.
The relative clause who helps me at home gives me the information I need to understand.
And I don't need commas. Okay, thank you.
Exactly, yes. Eric, now please.
So let me recap on what you said, if I understood it right. So pretty much is giving a general name, general thing, place, person, etc. And then adding to that a little few details of that general noun.
Which one you're talking about, the defining or the non-defining one?
Defining one.
The defining one, you don't give the name. You don't give the specific name.
So you make it general.
I think I know what Arely meant, because she said, I didn't understand at first, but she said, I thought the defining one was more specific because the name says defining, but is not defining sentence. It's defining relative clause, okay? If the name of the grammar were defining sentence, then yes, you need to give the name. Laura, the girl who helps me at home, is sick, right? But it's defining relative clause because your sentence is not specific. The relative clause, it's defining because it tells me who you're talking about. That's why. It's like a game of words. It's a little bit confusing, I know. But maybe the key is it's a defining or not defining relative clause. The clause itself, not the sentence. Okay. Letty, do you have any question?
Oh, no.
No? Okay, so I saw your hand. Constanza, you have any questions?
Teacher.
Yes. Gloria?
For example, for non-defining, it could be Marilyn Monroe, who was an American actress, sang the happy birthday to the president.
Exactly, correct.
And the other one would be Marilyn Monroe, or the woman that sang the happy birthday to the president was Marilyn Monroe.
Exactly, don't give the name because the sentence is not definite, then you use a defining relative clause. So put it this way, when the sentence is not clear enough, you use the defining relative clause so that people understand you better. Without that relative clause, people don't understand and they don't know what you're talking about.
Sorry, can you, Gloria, repeat the last example you said?
Yes, the woman that sang the happy birthday to the president was Marilyn Monroe.
Thank you.
Exactly.
But you're supposed to not give the name. Like, would you be the woman who sang the happy birthday song to the president was an American actress?
But you don't give the name when you use the clause, or you don't identify when you give the information, but you can use it at the end. Like, for example, the other example, like the museum, which we visited on our tour was the Natural American, blah, blah.
This one. In one, you can give the information right at the beginning, and the other one, no. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Don't worry. Take it in, take it all in. After the break, we're going to continue with more practice. We have a lot of practice for this, don't worry, okay? So let's have our break so you drink a cup of coffee because this topic is interesting, okay? I'm stealing minutes of your time. Anyways, sorry, it's 11:03, so I'll see you at 11:33, okay?
Thank you, teacher.
You're welcome.
Teacher.